Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Alhamdulillah, wassalat, wassalam Allah, wa rasulallah. Welcome to another session of Living the Sunnah. And today we have the final part of our series on social media chat addiction. And in the first part of our series, we spoke of how loneliness and mate seeking are the two main causes of social media chat addiction amongst Muslims. After pinpointing those factors, we last week discussed how incorporating the Quran and the Sunnah into our daily lives becomes an effective way of combating those factors. Well, today in our final report, we are joined by a guest, Brother Muhammad Ziada, and we're going to see if we can offer suggestions as to how to overcome the addiction to this increasingly destructive media. Brother Muhammad, I'd like to welcome you here to Sunnahfollowers. And can you give us a little bit of background information about yourself and your experience with people and their addiction to social media chat?
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So let me kind of give you a quick background on myself. My name is Brother Muhammad Ziada. I'm in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale right now. It's raining really bad out here. I've been in the criminal justice system for over 18 years. I hate when I say that because it makes me sound so old. But I've been dealing with addictions for just about the same amount of time. Addictions and anything you can think of. Currently right now, I work at the sheriff's office down here in Broward County. And I do this basically for the sheriff's office. I go to schools, masjids, synagogues, temples, churches, you name it. I go to it and I do talks on substance abuse, addictions, mental health awareness, all the things that us Muslims growing up, we never really addressed, right? I don't know if a lot of you guys are from my age group, but I know as growing up in this country, Palestinian, Muslim, Arab parents that are old school, never really thought about mental health, never really thought about addiction, just kept telling us this is haram, this is haram, this is haram, never really explaining things to us. We also started a Saturday class for teenagers in our masjid over here, myself and another young lady who we kicked it off about 3 years ago, I believe, before COVID happened. And mashallah, it just kind of took off. I have a master's degree. I'm actually supposed to be a guidance counselor, but I kind of didn't like parents. So I went back to working with criminals. Unfortunately, it was a lot more fun working with criminals and addiction than it was working in the school system. But I do also go to schools and I do lectures about these kinds of things. The way I do things here, Miss Layla, is if you guys get questions that are coming through, I want to know what people want to know, what people are wondering. That's how I do it in the schools. That's how I do it at the masjids. That's how I do it at the places where I do my lectures and my talks. I get questions because I notice that people don't want to ask their parents questions because they feel like their parents are going to look at them weird and all that kind of stuff. Parents don't know who to ask because the imams and the sheikhs are just going to say, this is haram, brother, because Allah says so, and that's it. And I'm here to kind of give you guys like a better understanding of why. Right. And we all think internet addiction or internet is just the internet. It's not like I'm smoking weed or I'm not drinking alcohol or I'm not, doing anything. I'm not doing crack or anything like that. But at the end of the day, when you look at the science behind the internet, right? Look at the colors of Facebook, the calming blue. Look at the name TikTok. What does that name mean? And when you think about it, when you really dive down deep into the rabbit hole of understanding what the names mean on these social media platforms, and I'll give you an example of TikTok. Think about that name, TikTok. What does that sound like? Right? TikTok. That's basically the time going while you're wasting your time flipping through and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. You're basically wasting your day watching cat videos, watching rap videos, watching whatever you're watching. And as you're sifting through and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, you wasted an hour. And in that hour, you could have been doing so much more for yourself, for your deen, for your iman, for your heart, for your soul. You could have been doing, we complain about doing a 5-minute salah, but we'll sit on our phones for 2 hours, looking through Facebook, looking through TikTok, looking through Snapchat, and all these things. Another thing I tell my students and my kids and all the people I talk to is, when you're looking at these things and you're watching these things and you're like, oh, this video is great, and then you follow that person, right? What is that telling you? Right there in your head, you're saying to yourself, I'm a follower. They're basically explaining, and they're saying it outright. Look how many followers I have. You became a follower, right? And in Islam, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been taught, us Muslims, we're supposed to be strong-willed people. We're supposed to be leaders, not followers, right? They made that word sound so enticing, right? I got 1,000 followers. Yeah, but how many of those 1,000 people do you actually know? And how many people are watching what you're doing, right? And what are you watching on these videos? Because listen, because of my job, because of what I do for a living, I have to kind of keep up with all that stuff. So I watch TikTok, I watch Snapchat, I do Instagram. I'm all over the social media platforms just so I can know and see what my own kids are seeing, right? I have a 13-year-old daughter, mashallah, beautiful girl. I have a 10-year-old son who's all about the Roblox life. I have a daughter who's all about the TikTok life, and it's always ba 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 ba. Come watch this, ba 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 ba. Come watch that. And I don't know if we have parents. Layla, is there parents on here, or is it just students? Or
yes, there's a lot of parents. A lot of parents.
A lot of parents. Okay, so you can't, as a parent, we can't stop this, right? We can't stop the internet. We can't. It's here. It's here to stay, right? I'm in my 40s, so I was before internet, when internet started, and now I'm in it, and I'm like, man, it's kind of like how it just took off, right? So as a parent, I watch what my kids are watching, right? I get into what my kids are watching, and I explain to them, Habib, this is haram. This is why this is haram. Let's not do that. Man, you'll see my daughter's TikTok or my son's Roblox. They're not following anybody. They're not looking at anybody. They're playing video games, or they're looking at different hadiths that come up, because you can get a lot of good stuff from the internet, right? And a lot of times, and I tell my students and my kids, don't like a video for a month and see what happens, right? And I know a month is a hard time. Don't like a video for a week, see what happens. They actually have, and I've worked with people that come to me from Facebook. People that come from me from Sony and from Google, who they came to me for addiction problems, and they'll tell me the secrets of the trade. And I can't name names, or I can't say can't put people's identities out there, but they have algorithms that are watching everything you're watching, right? So you don't even have to like a video anymore for them to keep it on your news feed, right? And if you guys were at the start of TikTok until now, if you noticed, even TikTok went from 30-second videos to 3-minute videos. And why is that? Because it creates that addiction. And when you're watching and you're constantly watching, what's happening? The endorphins in your brains, all that happiness, all that excitement, all that joy is going on in your brain. It's the same thing. It's the same exact chemistry as if you're doing drugs.
Wow.
Right? And a lot of people don't realize that.
Wow. Brother Muhammad, we see a big problem too that we discussed with adults that are addicted to the chat media, especially that Clubhouse. Have you seen many cases of couples who have had problems in their marriages because one of them are addicted to social chatting on Clubhouse and the likes? Can you share with us?
Here's the funny thing. I'm dealing with a couple right now who are very, very Christian, all right, going to church and Jesus loving and all this stuff. And, they're older, they're a little bit older than myself, and, married 18 years. And I guess the husband is stuck on that stuff. He's stuck on the Clubhouse. He's stuck on the chatting. He's stuck on liking pictures and all this kind of stuff. And the wife is like, Muhammad, this guy is just liking all these girl videos. He's putting hearts on this stuff. And, he just can't stop. He can't seem to stop doing that. right? And that's in and on itself becomes a problem. Not just him liking the videos or the marriage problems, the fact that you cannot stop. If you cannot stop, then there's a problem, right? And I'll give you an example of a personal example, like my father, right? Other time, my father was a great guy, I love the guy to death, but he was stuck on smoking. Knew it was bad for him. Knew it was killing him. Knew, when he stopped, he was getting better, but he just couldn't. Like after the doctor said he was great, everything was getting better. He started smoking again, and it was that addiction mindset that he just could not stop doing. Right, and I'll go back and I'll say the same thing to the client I'm dealing with right now. It becomes a problem when it becomes a problem in your main life. Then it's a problem. Then you need to really dive down deep into your own soul, right? And I can't say it to them because they're Christians and they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. But I tell my Muslim people all the time, if you see yourself scrolling and scrolling, stop. Go make wudu. Pray 2 rak'at, even if it's not salatan, just pray 2 rak'at to get your mind out of that gutter of addiction. Become addicted to something else, something that's going to make you better. Right. And I'll tell my daughter, she wants to play basketball. Okay, that's cool. You want to watch videos? Let's watch basketball videos that's going to help you dribble, help you on your shot, help you learn how to, play basketball better. My son, the same thing with soccer. I'll tell him, you know what? Yeah, I don't care if you look at your tablet, just watch something that's going to make you better at something. Right. I learned how to do my backyard and pave my backyard watching YouTube videos. Instead of having some guy do it for $7,000, I did it for $1,100 on my own, watching 10 or 15 YouTube videos. You can learn a lot of good stuff online, but you can also learn a lot of bad. And a lot of marriages have been going through the gutters because of the social media stuff. And you would think, oh, it's just the social media. Oh, it's just the internet. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal because when it comes down to a marriage, right? And if a woman is liking a picture of a man, that husband's self-esteem is going to go down the gutter. If a man's looking at the pictures and liking a picture of a girl, that wife, her self-esteem is going to go down to the gutter, right? And all that stuff that we're looking at is not even real.
Exactly. Also, Brother Muhammad, we find too that a lot of Muslims that are single, they claim they use social media chat as a means of trying to find a husband or a wife for themselves, thinking that they can possibly, I've heard women say that they're hoping to find scholars in social chat settings, and men saying that they're hoping to find scholarly women. Any words you have to share with us on that?
We do over here, and I don't know if you guys, where are you guys based out of? I'm sorry.
They're from all over the world. We have them. Most of the people here are from different states in America, and we have some Canadians here too. Yeah,
I know down here in South Florida, we have we do Islamic conferences, right? And there'll be like a time or a day in one of those conferences, like a 3-day conference, where we'll have set up a Islamic friendly environment where people can meet each other, right, in the halal, clean way. I'm going to give you guys a word of advice. Okay, like I said, there's ways of using the internet for good, but anybody can be anybody online. I can be the biggest sheikh in the world, and you guys would believe me if I just wear my little, wear the kufi and I wear the garb, and I look like one. I'm talking like one. I must be one. Right, and that's not the case. Your best bet is I think there's a website called muslima.com or something like that, where I've heard couples that were trying to get together and meeting up and trying to hook up, and then they meet in certain areas. It's a public place, so it's not haram. It becomes, you don't want to start something that you hope to believe to be the rest of your life in a haram way. Okay, you don't want to start something in a haram way. Stick with the halal, stick with what's right. Get off those platforms. Those platforms are nothing but lies. Nothing. I haven't had a couple that came to me and said that they met online and they're still together after 2 years. I know a couple who 2 years after being married. Oh, he said this to me online. He said he was like that online, but he doesn't even pray. You know what I mean? So you want to tell people what they want to hear, but it's always better to meet somebody face to face. You get to look at their eyes, make that eye contact, You get to see if they're lying, right? And I'm good at that kind of stuff. I always, tell people, I know when you're lying. You got it. You got this, or you got that, or you look away from me, or your eyes aren't. You're not making any eye contact. The internet is full of filters, right? I could have put a filter on to make myself look like the best looking guy in the world. Go scroll through TikTok and see how many people are doctors. You really think they're doctors? They put a stethoscope on them and they wear scrubs. Automatically, they're a doctor. So my advice to you guys is, do not fall for that trap. If you have a weak foundation, you'll fall for that trap. I'll be honest with you. I'm very direct with everybody, with my kids, with the parents. If you have a weak foundation, then you're going to falter.
Alhamdulillah. And Brother Muhammad, do you have any suggestions as to how we can overcome this addiction, especially for the children and for the adults?
Mm-hmm.
Any suggestions?
And my biggest suggestion is this, and I always like to practice what I preach, right? And I use myself as an example, maybe because I can't say and tell you guys to do something, and if I'm not doing, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That to me is a hypocrite. So I can't really be a hypocrite like that. So my advice is, you can't stop the internet. You can't. No matter what you try to do, your banking going to be online. You're going to do, your money's online. Your jobs are going to be online. We're always looking at the emails. We're always doing all that stuff. We have a rule in my house, right? Biggest rule in my house is no internet, no TV, no nothing, no phones, no nothing on the dinner table, right? Khalas, you're home. That's it. I know some people have jobs. Listen, I work 24/7. I'm on call 24/7. So I'm always having my watch on me. And if my phone's away from me, but I look at my watch and say, you know what? It's not important. You know what? It's not important. You gotta spend time with your kids. And for the kids, and forget the parents. The parents, if you're a mess, I feel bad for the kids. But I will tell the kids this: if you have to be a parent to your parents, then do it. Tell your parents, man, put your phone down, mom. Put your phone down, dad. And I want to go play some soccer. Today, just now, like, I'm trying to come home to come here. And my son's like, oh, we got time to play soccer, dad. I'm like, no, bro, it's raining. I got to go upstairs. Let me do this first. And then if it stops raining, we'll do that. We'll do something. And we set a time frame for playing some soccer, for going outside, for even going on the phone together. I downloaded a game for me and my son to play. When I'm at work and he's home, I'll give him a little text. Hey, man, get on Brawl Stars. We're going to play together. And we'll play together. We'll watch things together. We'll do stuff together. Do as much as you can together. Do not let your kids close their bedroom doors. Do not let them close their bedroom doors. Doors always got to stay open. And I know we talk about privacy, and my daughter needs her privacy all the time. I'm like, yeah, you got a bathroom. You got to change. You go in the bathroom and change. But the rooms, the doors stay open. The phones, the tablets are always out in public. There's no passwords on anything. And listen, try this with your marriages. If for the married couples out here, put your phone down and tell your wife to look through your phone. Tell the husband, let your husband look through your phone. And you're not supposed to. You're supposed to say, no, alhamdulillah, it's all good. Because I tell my wife all the time, whatever you do is between you and Allah. So I don't have to really go and search her phone. Right? And she won't look at my phone. It's not about trust. It's about, listen, I'm more afraid of Allah than you. Fear Allah before you fear everything else. Right? I tell my captains that. I tell the sheriff that. I tell everybody, I don't fear anybody except for Allah. And I will never, ever falter from that for nothing. Right? And my biggest advice is, if you're not spending time with your kids, then somebody else is.
Yeah, we have a big problem too, Officer Muhammad, that some of the Muslim women that I know, they are PhD. They're a very academic, but they spend all their time, just about all their time on Clubhouse or social media. And they're there day, they're there at night. And, they complain about how their children don't practice Islam, but they don't see that they're walking around, moderating 50, 60 groups, and they're living their life on the internet and leaving the kids themselves. Any suggestion for these type of women?
Here's the thing with women, and I noticed that with educated women, right? And so mashallah, now the girls coming up from back before I was, growing up. When I was growing up, girls weren't going to college that much or studying that much. We were they were always getting like, just get married, just get married, just get married. Khalas, get married, get married, get married. And now these girls always want to be independent, right? They're always looking for this independence. And now they're like, oh, I have a PhD and I'm smarter than everybody else and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be very, very, very honest with you. And alhamdulillah, this is like one of the things my wife always tells me, you're too honest sometimes. You got to stop because you never know who's listening. I don't really care. I've had guest speakers who are the most educated people that way past me, who are the dumbest people I've ever had to work with. Okay, and I don't care how educated you are. If you don't have the deen and the haya, I don't know if you understand like that, the fear of Allah in your heart, all education goes out the window. You're not taking any of that stuff with you when you die. None of that stuff is coming with you. So if you're a woman who's highly educated and you're having your expectations up here for a man that's going to be as educated as you are, you're going in the wrong direction. The Clubhouse apps and all these different things that you ladies are doing out there, what you're doing is, and I usually have like a poster or a blackboard or something, or a whiteboard, and I'll make a picture of a heart, right? And I'm like, this is your heart. Every time you click something, put a black dot on that heart of yours. Dot, 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 dot. And it's every time you're scrolling or you're clicking, you put a dot on there. And what you've done is you turn that nice, beautiful red heart into a black heart. Right? And now what have you done now? You've seen all this stuff online. You've heard all these things online. It started at a young age where these princess movies and the Snow Whites and all that kind of stuff, where we thought these girls were supposed to be treated like princesses and all this stuff, and the girls can do whatever they want to a man, but the man has to treat a girl like this. That's not the case. If you are not paying attention to your kids, then expect your kids to be a mess. If you're not paying attention to your husband, guess what's going to happen? And the husbands, if you're not paying attention to your wives, if you're working 24/7 and you're not taking care of your wife and you're not watching your wife, you're not talking to your wife, then somebody else is. Your wife's going to find it from somewhere else. And then that's what creates the haram. That's the biggest thing I see. And when it comes to social media is, all these people online are giving me attention. All these people are liking my videos. All these people are look, and I've seen these girls who are muhajjabah and they're cooking channels and they're doing this and they're doing that and they want to be influencers, right? And it's like, okay, but they're not even looking at they're not even listening to what you're saying. Maybe the girls are listening to what you're saying, but you have all these guys watching your whole life unfold online with your kids and with your husband, and they're not looking, they're looking at you, right? They're fantasizing about you. They're thinking other things. You're allowing those guys, you're allowing those people to look at you some type of way. Everything. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in my days, we have a thing called privacy, right? What goes on in my house stays in my house, right? My mom and my dad used to always say, don't tell anybody what's going on. Don't say about this. Don't say about that. Don't tell anybody your grades. Don't tell anybody. And now we're at this point in our society where we post everything. We post everything. We post the goods, but we barely post the bads because we want everybody to think that our lives are great. And then when we're scrolling, we don't realize that those people are just posting fake stuff. There's a kind of like I scroll through and I'll see a hijab girl wearing these tight clothes, and she's trying to like do these dances, these TikTok dances, and these other dances that they're coming up with, and I'm just like, subhanAllah, like, why? First of all, you look like you're 12 years old, and second of all, you're looking for those little likes, those little clicks on those hearts, right? We've become, I mean, if you guys will ever watch these shows on Netflix called Black Mirror, where they go into that kind of stuff. And they show you what this world is going to become. Cash is going to be done with. Money is going to be done with. It's all going to be about how popular you are, right? And that's what we're doing right now. And our kids are watching us. They're learning from us. And they're going to do what we're doing. But by the time they get to our age, it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. And I don't know what the age group is here, because I'm trying to censor myself a little bit, because I'm not trying to say too much of the vulgarity that comes out through the internet. I'm trying to keep it rated G as much as I can. But I'm telling you now, women, get off your phones. Men, get off your phone. Put the tablets down. And I know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't know if you guys know the stories of how he got rid of alcohol.
Yeah.
Right? He got rid of it slowly. Right? He didn't just say, stop alcohol. He said, when you're praying, before you pray, you don't drink. Then he slowly started to get rid of alcohol. Right? And then at the end of it, he said, okay, now alcohol is haram. right? So my thing is take slow steps, right? Start Saturday. Saturday and Sunday, put the phone down. 2 days. For 2 days, put your phone down. Whether you have kids or you don't have kids, don't touch social media for 2 days. See how you feel by Monday morning when you wake up, right? And I've done this for about 20 to 25 people when I was counseling and doing the therapy with them, couples counseling, couples therapy. And nobody has come back to me and said, oh my God, that was the worst day of my life. I felt so crappy after the second day. Everybody said the same thing. Oh my God, I did not realize how much time I was spending. I got this done, we got that done, we went here, we did this, we did that. Yeah, because you spent all day on your phone, you forget that you're spending all that time sitting down on the couch, laying on your bed, and you're wasting all that time. Right. And I know most of the messages around your areas, I know some of my areas, they have family nights, right? Where the girls meet up with the girls, the guys meet up with the guys, they can play volleyball, whatever. We have that over here in Pompano Beach at our masjid. Go. Go spend some time with some good Muslims. Go learn something. Because I know there's a lot of women, good women. I mean, I know down here we have a couple of females who teach hadiths and stuff like that to the females. And it's like, why not do that? Your kids will watch what you're doing. If you're learning hadiths, guess what your kids are doing? If my son sees me praying over here on the floor, I don't even have to tell him to come anymore. I hear him running up the stairs. Oh, Baba's praying. I got to go Sully. Because he sees what I'm doing. Practice what you preach. You can't tell your kids don't go online if you're going to be online, right? We have this thing in our agency where we have a whole internet section, right? Cyber crimes and all that kind of stuff. And I walked into that office one day, to that unit, and I saw some really, really crazy stuff. And again, I'm going to leave it rated G here because I don't know how many people are watching and what the age groups are, but it is very, very gross. And I was watching them as they were monitoring a 45-year-old man who was acting as if he was a 12-year-old girl. And they said, Muhammad, just watch this. And the guy on the computer was texting the other guy that was acting like a 45-year-old. The officer was texting the 45-year-old man, and they knew this guy was a 45-year-old man. This officer was pretending to be an 11-year-old girl, telling him where we're going to meet up. And I know that's a very serious, way out there thing that we're not even discussing, but I'm telling you how fake the internet is. You're going to meet a guy online. You're going to really meet a good guy online. Right? And that's the biggest question I get asked by the teenagers and the 20 to 30-year-olds ask me all the time, where am I supposed to meet a girl? Brother Muhammad, where am I supposed to meet a good Muslim girl? With COVID happening, there's no more weddings and we can't get together and we can't do this and we can't do that. And I tell them, subhanAllah, I said, look at the flyer we just got. They just sent us the flyer saying that there's going to be a way to meet people in the halal way. The imams are going to be there. The sheikhs are going to be there. Your parents are going to be there. Her parents are going to be there. And this is what you do. This is how you do it. Right? We've put such a stigma on meeting with people because we're thinking so negative about everything. The best way to meet somebody is face to face. The best way to meet somebody is face to face. That person has to be real with you. They can't lie to you. And ask the questions you want to ask, right? And I tell that to my brothers, because I have two little brothers. You got to ask that girl the biggest questions that you got to ask them. You got to ask them right then and there. Do you Sully? Are you a good Muslim? Do you fast? What's your goals? Because you want somebody who's going to bring you up in Iman, not bring you down. Right? I'll be honest. My wife's not here, so I can say it. My wife pushed me to get on my prayers. My wife pushed me to become a better Muslim. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I won't say that because I'm saying that now because she's not around here, so she won't get all big-headed and stuff about it. But that's how it should work. Right? If somebody's bringing you down, and this is for the teenagers as well, look at all the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Right? Online and in person. At the schools, and whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you're looking at, look at all the people that you're watching. I can tell you the kind of person you are by the people that you surround yourself with. Right? If you're not talking about, and if your conversations throughout the whole day, not 24 hours, let's say 12 hours of the day, if you don't bring up Islam or Allah or Deen or anything like that for those 12 hours, you wasted a day. You wasted your whole day. Is there any questions? I'm sorry, I keep going. I don't want to keep talking.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, this was so enlightening. Does anyone have any questions for the brother? Go ahead and take the mic. Anyone here in the Zoom room? Sister Sabrine. Oh, let me her. Sabrine's mute. Let me unmute her. Okay, go ahead, Sister Sabrine.
Assalamu alaikum. Are there any, do you think there's possibly any new solutions? We know Islam is the best. We know that. But it is very difficult. From what I have seen, even lately, it's very difficult to not only convince children, but even adults to let go of that. You know, it's just like it's some type of drug.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, and like I said the same thing. I said, you know, when we're looking at it online, when we're watching online, we're scrolling, our endorphins, our chemicals in our brains are getting excited, just like a drug, just like cocaine, just like meth, just like marijuana, just like alcohol. And that's what they do for us, right? And the biggest thing I tell everybody to do is, you want something new. And here's the thing, the phones now, the tablets now, they're all coming up with these different ways of, you know, putting in timers on it and locking it up and all that kind of stuff. If we don't take advantage of that stuff, right? Because, you know, trust me, Facebook, they got a lawsuits on them from all that addiction stuff and all that kind of stuff. Instagram, all that stuff, they've got lawsuits on all these things that, because it's not just us as Muslims, the non-Muslims are having a problem with it as well. Right. And like I said, most of my clients, Muslims, alhamdulillah, but most of my non-Muslim clients have this same problem with internet addiction. And I always tell them, listen, whoever's the one responsible in that house, whether it's the parent for the kids or the husband for the wife or the wife for the husband, put a timer on your Wi-Fi, right? Put a timer on your phones. Set it up to where you're telling yourself, your phone is going to tell you, hey, man, it's time to shut down. You've been on the phone for 3 hours. You've been on the phone for 20 minutes, right? And if it's for your children, you as a parent are the one responsible for taking that phone out of their hands, no matter how much they moan and groan and saying, we're going to go outside and throw the football around. We're going to go outside and kick the ball around. We're going to go outside and take a walk. Go outside. And if you're in the cold weather, then you know what you're doing? You're playing some Scrabble. You're playing some Monopoly. You're doing something with your kids. Do something. Right. And I don't care how cold it is outside, you can always put on hadiths on your TV. Right. My wife, when she's cleaning, she puts the Quran on all the time, right? And the whole house is like screaming the Quran while she's cleaning. And my daughter's up there cleaning, my son's up there cleaning, we're up here. So we have to take control of our own children's lives. We got to know and watch what they're doing. If you're a couple, right? If you're a couple, husband and a wife, and you have this problem, then it's to the point where you're thinking about leaving each other. Don't. Right. Again, right. We live in this society where, you know, divorce has become the new normal. Right. And we just tend to just run away from our problems instead of working on it, instead of dealing with it. And when it gets to a problem, that's when you start to have to get our parents involved, your parents and his parents, and say, look, this is the problem. Right. And then the parent, like my father would come to me and be like, yo, what's wrong with you? Right? What's going on with you? Why are you doing this? I didn't raise you this way. Right? And utilize the newest tools that are coming out. I know on my phone, they did an update on my Samsung, and it tells you now, you know, you can put it on a timer to turn off at a certain time. Right? And here's the biggest problem that I've seen happening is the last thing we look at before we close our eyes is what? The phone. What's the first thing we look at when we wake up?
Oh,
yeah, the phone.
And I wish this was in person, because I asked this question to all the kids: how many times, or who has ever had the phone drop on their face while they're laying in bed?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, Sister Latifa, go ahead. Latifa.
Alhamdulillah. All right. I just wanted to say all this information you shared with us today has really been great and very informative. And it just lets me know as a grandmother, this is something that I want to share, with my grandchildren, taking a step, because all of my children are not Muslim, my grandchildren are not. So I still want to instill some things in them. And that what you said about meeting in person where you can see a person, because sometimes, you can tell a shady person when you see them. I know for myself personally, I get a feeling I either like you in the beginning or I don't,
Yep.
You got to prove yourself before I can get beyond that. Yep. And it's great that information you shared about having questions to ask the person. That even sparked something in my mind about writing them down, having them pre-written before you even know you're going to meet someone, Yes. So this is just some great, wonderful, alhamdulillah, great information that you shared today.
And I tell the brothers all the time, these guys want the Coke bottle, model wife. And, I always tell these brothers, do you want somebody that looks good or has a good personality? Because at the end of the day, looks are going to fade away. Right? We're all going to get ugly. I'm sorry. We're all going to get ugly. We're all going to get wrinkled up. We're all going to, inshallah, we live that long. Right. And I when I'm explaining to these brothers it's not about a question of, do you plan on getting plastic surgery? No, that's not the questions that you want to ask. You want to ask those deep rooted questions. How close are you to your deen? Right? Because as a brother, me, if let's say I'm 25 years old, I sully, but I'm not really that close to my, I'm not really, I fast, but sometimes, and, we always have those doubts. So as a 25, 28-year-old, 30-year-old about to get married, you want somebody who's going to tell you, yo, why are you not fasting today? Man, stuff with Allah. I mean, brother, get over here and let's fast. Hey, let's go. It's Fajr, wake up. Fajr, wake up. You want that. I'll make noise in the morning to wake up my wife. I won't wake her up, but I'll make a little bit of noise. Oh yeah, it's Fajr time. Okay, let me wake up. And she'll do the same thing for me, but she'll usually hit me with a pillow or something to tell me get up. Because I'm more gentle than she is. I don't know. But it's kind of when we as Muslims, right? And I didn't know there was a grandma in here. Alhamdulillah, you told me that your grandma, you were brought up when there was no internet, right? You remember those times where the lights of the street lights were our alarm clock to get back home, right? And
yes, that's true.
And we don't have that anymore, right? Our kids now, we're always so coddling and no, don't go outside. There's so many bad people. And me, especially now, I'll tell you the truth. Working in law enforcement, I know nothing but bad. I see the bad in everybody, right? And my wife will always tell me, they're not bad people. Yeah, I get vibes, right? Just like you said, we get vibes on those people, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put stuff inside of us to kind of know whether a person is a good person or a bad person, right? And subhanAllah, the people that we meet all the time, every person that met us, my wife and I, and we do other stuff other than our jobs, we do other stuff on the side. They'll always say, hey, can you ask your wife if she want to work with me on something? Can you ask your husband if he wants to work on me with something? Because they know we won't lie, we won't steal, we won't cheat, and we have fear of Allah. If you have fear of Allah in your heart, you will know what the right thing to do is. Inshallah.
Brother Haytham, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My question is, I have my friends, they are complaining about they tell me there is a episode show on Netflix, example, 40 hours, each one is 1 hour. So what he do that he wants to watch for 1 hour, one of them, one episode, but he end up how at the end of each one, they make you excited to watch the next one.
Yes.
So he end up watching the next one, another an hour, the next one, the next one, the next one. Then he was planning to start at 8 o'clock and finish by 10 and go to sleep. But he end up watching until 3 o'clock in the morning when he gets so exhausted, so tired, and he slept and wake up in the morning extremely tired. He go to the job very tired and complains, and driving is not too good, and it's very dangerous. So is it the addiction to drama? Because this is all drama in Netflix, and he cannot control the drama, the amount of the drama. Yes.
Let me talk to you guys real quick about that, because here's the problem with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney, Redbox. There's so many different ones. Okay, and here's the problem with those streaming videos. Okay, and like I said, I've worked in this field for a long time. I've worked with people who were rappers. I worked with people who owned companies. I worked with millionaires. I worked with different brands of people. Right, so I learn a lot from these guys. You know, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. You know, I learn how, you know, people, when they meet me for the third time or the fourth time, they start, you know, when they're in my counseling sessions, they start telling me a lot of stuff that I really don't ask, because I don't want, you know, I don't think to ask these questions, but they tell you stuff. So somebody had told me from Sony, all right, that, you know, when you're watching a video on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, they want to keep you on that streaming service, right? So they figured out a way, and it's not even people anymore. Now they set up an algorithm on the computers to monitor what each person is watching. Think about how they say this is the #1 video on Netflix. How do they know that? I don't think a million people are out there pressing the like button on Netflix. All right, I don't think there's a million people pressing the dislike button on Netflix. So how they know this is they have an algorithm to see, okay, Layla's watched this, Haytham's watched that, Amina's watched this. So they know exactly who's watching what. Okay, now we know Haytham likes this type of movies, so we're gonna start to push these kind of videos up at the front of his search engine. So Haytham will get stuck watching. Those shows are meant to be so addicting. That's why they have that big ending towards the end of these shows, so you can click next to watch again, click next to watch again, click next. Next thing you know, you start at 10 o'clock at night, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, you got to go to work, you're exhausted, you're tired. That is a form of addiction. As soon as it impacts your life, that's considered an addiction, right? It's impacting your health, it's impacting your wife, your life, your marriage. As soon as it starts to do that, that is called an addiction. I don't care what anybody says. I will go toe to toe with anybody, and I have before gone toe to toe with certain people, certain therapists, and certain counselors on that notion, because if it's impacting your life, if you cannot stop, it's impacting your life, that's an addiction.
I agree 100%. Sister Lucy, go ahead with your question.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Mashallah. I'm asking this question because right now in schools, they're pushing the kids to learn how to use the electronics, the tablets. They're pushing them to be able to get on it without anybody helping them and stuff. So like my kids, my grandkids, they are addicted to looking at YouTube, sitting there looking at people eating all day long. And they don't, and I put them on the kids YouTube, but they don't want to look at that. They want to look at regular YouTube. So that right there tells me, yeah, kids can get addicted easier than grown-ups sometimes.
Sometimes. But here's the problem with that aspect, and there's good and there's bad. All right. Listen, I know everybody doesn't want their kids online, right? Because we all want to just protect our kids from the internet, right? And you can't. Like I said, the school is going to use internet, the banks are going to use internet, we have to use internet. I don't remember the last time I wrote a check, right? Like, I don't, you know, as an old man, I feel like an old man when I say check, because I talk to my kids about checkbooks and they're looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about, Dad? We don't have a choice in the matter anymore, right? And for grandparents, parents, we have to let our kids use the internet. And I tell my sons, and I tell my daughter, and I tell my kids, and I tell the youth groups all the time, learn how to use the internet. Be internet savvy. I said, but be the guy that builds the game. Don't be the guy that plays the game, right? Learn how to build a program, right? Because like school right now, and maybe some people won't like when I say this, and again, I'm very blunt about stuff like that. School isn't what it used to be back in our time. Right? You don't need a master's degree to be a millionaire anymore. You know, and unfortunately, our kids are seeing that. They're seeing how they're doing cryptocurrencies. They're watching how to do stocks and trades and all these different things. And are we going to stop them? No, you can't. You can't. So what you do is you always push and redirect. Right? Our kids are going this way. Our job as parents is to kind of push them back to going this way, straight ahead. right? And as a parent, I'm watching my kids, what they're doing, what they're watching, who they're talking to, right? And I'll hear a voice on the thing. Who are we talking to? And it's, it's Kais. I'm playing Roblox with Kais. Okay, I'll call his dad. Hey, is your son playing? Yeah. Okay, cool. Now we got that settled. I got my son. I trust my kids. I know they know what's right and wrong. I instill that in them. I talk to them. I watch them, and I play with them. Right? If you're not playing with your kids, like I said, somebody else can play with them. But we cannot stop our kids from using the internet. We have to allow our children to use it in a good halal Islamic way. Right? And use that. Tell your kids, yeah, play, be the guy, go online all you want. Just be that person that builds the game, not just plays it. Right? Make a game. If one of your kids can build a game or even a cool character, that kid's set. That kid is set. Look at the person who made Final Fantasy or Super Mario or, Zelda. Those people that created those characters are set.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
With all this right here, our kids, like we grew up, we learned how to handwrite with a pencil or a pen. They don't know how to literally write anymore. They can't longhand, they can't cursive, they can't write a letter, an actual letter, and they don't know how to spell because they use short terms for everything now.
Yes. And here's the kicker on that, right? And subhanAllah, this is how you kind of know the world's turning back in circles, right? I don't know if you guys ever look at the history books or stuff like that, where Egyptians used to use hieroglyphics, and now subhanAllah we use emojis. It blows my mind how we just went from hieroglyphics to words to now back to hieroglyphics again, to pictures. And what I've, and it dawned on me when, a couple of years back when I was signing on the credit card and my son was like, that's not your name. I had to explain to him what a signature is because they don't teach handwriting anymore. And when it clicked in my head that I saw that, I said, you know what, let me go on and see if I can find a cursive handbook so I can teach my kids how to do handwriting. Because the schools will not teach that. All right, our kids, our school systems right now are a mess. All right, they're old school. They're not teaching the kids the new stuff anymore. I have to teach life. They don't teach our kids how to do taxes. They don't teach our kids about the importance of credit. They don't teach our kids how to buy a house without using interest. They don't teach our kids any of that kind of stuff. So that comes on us as parents and as people who are running masjids. We have to say, what is our community lacking? And that's where I took, me and myself and a group of people, we said, our kids are lacking life skills. And I told them, I will not teach hadiths. I will not teach Quran. I will teach life skills and why certain things are haram, why drugs is haram, why the internet, the internet addiction is haram. We go into details, and I'll have guest speakers that come in and explain to them the importance of credit. I have a good Muslim guy that does taxes who will come onto the school, come out to my classrooms and teach the kids what is taxes, what's going to happen, how you're going to pay them, what a W-2 is. Here's a W-2. Let's fill it out together. So by the time our kids go and apply for a job, oh, I did this in Brother Muhammad's class. They're going to remember these things. So as parents, as grandparents, as teachers, as educators, utilize your resources for your masjids. I don't get paid for this stuff that I do at the masjids. I don't care. I need God knows I need as many hasanat as I can get. So I will spread as much knowledge as I can for free and help as many as I can for free. So Allah can forgive me for all my past sins. And that's what we as Muslims need to start to think of. Sorry.
Alhamdulillah, Brother Muhammad, this has been very, very informative, and we learned so much just from this short gathering. And before we end, I'd like to ask you if you would be willing to come back again, because we need someone of your expertise here to help to answer questions like this and help guide us in these type of life situation things, such as internet and all. And then remember, guys, he brought a lot of good points out. Social media addiction occurs whenever it reaches the point of affecting your day-to-day life. And like he said, we need to first of all, begins with us as parents. We need to put the phone down, put the chat rooms down, and spend time with our children. Remember, guys, as Muslims, our existence is supposed to be based upon pleasing Allah, doing the deeds that are pleasing to him. And like he said, time is short. You know, you never know when that angel of death is going to come knocking on your door. So you want to have a lot of good deeds to take with you to that grave, because social media is not going to help you. You know, the followers you have are not going to help you. It's the good deeds you did for your children, your husbands, your families, and all of that. So again, are there any, before we close out, any other comments or questions? If not, I want to close out and thank everybody for joining. This is Brother Muhammad Ziada, and he's in Florida, right? He's in Florida, and inshallah, we'll have him as a speaker here again, inshallah. And maybe we can invite you up here to the community I met in Ohio. We definitely need him here. Yeah, so thank you for joining us, and may Allah, bless us all, and may we all walk away from here with a lot of knowledge. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Brother Muhammad, this was one of our best forums. This was.
I'm very, like I said, if you guys ever need me for anything, I am down to come through, down to always go online and meet with you guys, talk with you guys. If you guys ever have any personal questions, you have my email, let them email me whatever questions they have. I'm always willing to answer. And I always say, like, at the end, when I always finish everything, I always finish everything with a quick comment that says, basically, imagine, like you said, if the angel of death is coming to you and the last thing that you have, or the last thing you're watching, is a TikTok video on your phone. Imagine that. Imagine you're getting into a car accident and the last thing that's on the radio is music. You don't want that on you when you're dead. You want to have either a Quran on or some type of hadiths on, or you want to be playing with your kids. You don't want to die with a phone in your hand. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, hopefully I help you guys out with some stuff.
Yes, and thank you for joining. We're going to probably have you back here again. And let's pray. If Dr. Jamali gets this position as the imam of the mosque here where I am, we'll probably have you up here in Ohio a lot. This is a big problem here for us in Ohio. This social media and its addiction. We got children committing suicide, kids. It's really bad here. We have some Muslim kids that have committed suicide. It's something. They're all because they don't have the followers and all of that.
It's all over. Suicide is becoming it's not an American thing anymore. It's an everybody thing. So we have to understand that in Islam, I know we don't like to talk, and Muslims and Arab and Arabs, Pakistanis, whatever. We don't like to talk about mental health. We don't like to talk about suicide. We don't like to talk about drugs. But that's what we need to start talking. I was telling
this
my
is
mom,
affecting us.
I was just telling my mom, subhanAllah, today on my way here, on my way back home, I'm like, Mom, I'm talking to my kids about stuff that my dad has never talked to me about. Right.
And that's another problem too. So you do the drug too. That's gonna be another discussion. The next 2 weeks is the drug addiction amongst the Islamic community. So we'll have you back here for that one. Yeah, make sure you guys write that down. He'll be our guest speaker for the drug addiction thing. SubhanAllah. Okay, well, thank you for joining, Brother Muhammad, and enjoy the rest of your day with your son. Hopefully it stopped raining. And like I said, I'll keep in touch with you, inshallah.
Yes, please call me anytime.
Yes. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sisters, take care.
You too. He's a good brother. MashaAllah. We got a good one, guys. Alhamdulillah.